Well, it is time now for a look through the main stories making the headlines in the papers with Deepti Laurent. She's here in studio for that. Deepti, firstly, the French Prime Minister has been announcing the major ministers that are going to be making up the new government with one big surprise. What's that?
Yeah, the big surprise is indeed the appointment of Rachida Dati to the Ministry of Culture. She's currently mayor of Paris' 7th arrondissement, but she's also notably from the right-wing Les Républicains party. She was even a former minister under former President Nicolas Sarkozy. Her nomination is quite a surprise for many reasons, mainly because also she's been a vocal critic of Emmanuel Macron's party in the past. Le Parisien reminds us in its front page that in 2021 she called his party a union of traitors from the left and from the right. Nonetheless, she's on the front page of Le Parisien. They call her nomination a surprise. Certainly did take everyone by surprise. Libération also evoking that similar surprise, but also notes that her connection to Nicolas Sarkozy, a very strong figure of the French right, seals Emmanuel Macron's party's shift to the right with this government. She's just one of now several members of his government or ministers of his government who have come from France's right-wing party.
And Deepti, for Le Monde, this nomination, it may not even be about the culture ministry itself, but rather about her underlying municipal ambitions. Tell us about that.
Well, Rachida Dati, as I said, is mayor of the 7th arrondissement in Paris, the 7th district. She also notably ran and lost against Anne Hidalgo in 2020 municipal elections. Dati has never made a secret of her ambitions to one day be Paris mayor, and in a way, becoming the culture minister could serve as sort of a trampoline for her mayoral ambitions. And this is something that Le Monde is looking at. Firstly, the culture ministry gives her a really nice, will center her work on the French capital. The culture ministry, for instance, is taking care of the renovations of Notre Dame, which should finish this year. So that will sort of put her in the spotlight. But also, according to Le Monde, she may have wanted guarantees from Emmanuel Macron that if she accepts the culture portfolio, then she can run unopposed as a candidate for the right-wing party and Emmanuel Macron's party in those mayoral elections in 2026. So that might have been the trade-off in exchange for her accepting this portfolio.
Taking us to Taiwan next, Deepti. Millions of voters there are heading to the polls on Saturday for elections in which the spectre of Chinese influence, it really is looming large, isn't it?
It is looming large, but it is also something that has been really a sort of obsessive focus of the foreign press's coverage of the Taiwan elections, the lead up to the Taiwan elections. And that's exactly what this writer from Foreign Policy magazine says. Paul Huang is a research fellow with the Taiwan Public Opinion Foundation. And in this article, he says it might be a big concern for the foreign press and foreign international community. But for Taiwanese voters, they really care more about domestic issues and governance. Scandals of infidelity and academic misconduct have plagued the DPP party, that's the ruling party, and it has also greatly battered their image, something that the KMT, the pro-China party, might look to capitalize on. Ultimately, though, the next president, whoever it will be, Paul Huang says, will have to face the same challenges as the current President Tsai, improving the economy, improving the salaries of young people, reforming the military, boosting the defense, notably with the threat of China's possible one day maybe invasion, and also trying to strike a balance between peace in the region and not compromising the sovereignty of Taiwan. Taipei Times also focusing on the elections, of course, on its front page with this picture here. It says, in any case, in its editorial, that it warns against young voters voting for the TPP candidate, Chairman Ko. He's a brash figure who sort of presented himself as the alternative to the two major candidates, but he also does advocate some ideas that would see Taiwan getting closer to China. The paper reminding us of the sacrifices in blood made by the DPP party to ensure Taiwanese independence in the past, and also notes, for instance, that some of Taiwan's thriving tech industries, like the technology industry, simply wouldn't be possible if it were a part of China today.
Next, Science Journal is reporting that it's identified the ruins of human civilization that existed in the Amazon 2,500 years ago.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story. Unfortunately, the pictures don't really tell a lot, but it is really fascinating. Scientists, researchers discovered dense networks of interconnected cities that were buried under forest cover in in the rainforests of Ecuador's Upano Valley. And it came to life through laser mapping technology. And this technology has actually revolutionized archaeology, revealed settlements that existed at least 2,500 years ago, more than a millennia older than what we know of current Amazonian society. And even more surprisingly, we saw that these communities were actually quite urbanized with thriving agricultural industries.
Finally, then, you are bringing us the winner of a rather unusual competition, Deepti, the world's ugliest lawn.
Yeah, a woman from Tasmania has picked up this prize, Sharon, for the world's ugliest lawn. It's a competition it's a Swedish competition aiming to celebrate ugly lawns around the world, in the whole idea being to promote, for instance, water-saving techniques and environmentally friendly practices when it comes to lawns. This woman has her own lawn full of large holes and small scrub. It's littered with food sources for chickens and echidna and bandicoots. She's lived in the area with no access to water mains, so the water she collects goes for more important things, hence why her lawn is so scrappy looking. It gives hope to all of us who have sad looking lawns. You might one day win a prize, Sharon.
Deepti, thank you so much for that. That's Deepti Laurent with our press review. Do stay with us for more world news on France 24.